Heavy is the head that has to manage all of this.
Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel.
We're now incentivized to buy what we already buy.
Fumbling through college had me building.
I also got something done on the other side.
And that was right around, I would say, May, maybe right before renewing the lease for this property.
Welcome to the channel, Martha.
Thank you for having me here.
Oh, I was gonna say I am getting up there in age, I'll tell you what.
Bills paid by other people, life was never this good. I had to step back, knowing that it's...
Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So today I want to talk about what is very apparent in our communities, not just black, white, or other races, but we have a huge problem with fraud, waste, and abuse that is starting to become a very focal topic, right? Fraud, waste, and abuse. We see what's going on, that it does look like targeting of the Somali community when it comes to daycares. Obviously, we've all heard of the Learning Center, which is supposed to be the learning center, and we can understand that in Minnesota there was fraud, waste, and abuse. But I've also seen daycares never open in certain neighborhoods in which I'm a part of, right? Do I know who they're operated by? No, I don't have children, so I never decided to take a look. Like, what am I looking at a daycare for if I don't have any children to bring to said daycare, right? That would make sense. Like, you wouldn't go in unless you had a need for it. And so, I've also seen things like I would go to a dentist's office that was with Blue Cross Blue Shield or whatever dental supplier I had at the time, and they wouldn't be open. They would be open like 2 days a week, and that was kind of weird. Like, how are you only open 2 days a week? And so you get to find out that there's a lot of companies, there's a lot of businesses that are just existing, but truly don't really offer the service that you're inquiring about. And so, I've worked with people where their child was disabled, but that same person who had the disabled child was doing drugs during the pregnancy. I'm not a big advocate for drugs, and so they were like feeding their child drugs while they were young. And that person, I believe, receives upwards of $3,000 a month for the kid, maybe more than that. I would like to say it's 10K, but I don't think it can get that high. Correct me if I'm wrong. I believe that the child is like 80 to 100% disabled at this point, still attend school every now and then, and the mother like just decides, maybe I'll show up to work, maybe not. I'll leave. My child pays all my bills anyway. And that's the thing, right? For a mother to say my child pays all my bills, a 10-year-old pays all your bills, is insane to me. The fact that we can give birth to a child and the government will then pay you for your child for the rest of your life is insane. And when I say the government, I mean us, me, the taxpayer, is now paying for your child for the rest of their life. That is insane. You understand? And so the people who work super hard to create a life for themselves in which they can then pay for their children, their lives, and their significant others' lives, like me, is tasked with the burden of taking care of others. And then those who don't care about their community, they just can have as many children as they possibly like. Now, I say all that to say, I understand that in certain cultures, you grow up just wanting a big family. I've had a girl tell me once that she wanted 12 children. It's not because she wanted to abuse the system, but it's because she wanted a big family. She didn't have one growing up. And she's probably accustomed to seeing families with a whole bunch of kids. I would be terrified if I was a woman and I heard someone say, I need 12 kids out of you. That would be terrifying. But for her, that's what she wanted, right? And so I'm not saying that everybody who has more than 3 or 4 children is trying to abuse the system. That is not what I'm saying whatsoever. But what I am saying is that most people who are waiting and really trying to build themselves up is because they know innately that they're going to pay for the life that they want to have and wish to provide. So, for example, I understand that it's easier. It is easier to just live, remain stagnant, and not do anything else whatsoever. I could effectively stay in this home, not worry about nothing else for the rest of my life. But I also understand that I am capable of more. I am capable of growth. I am capable of achieving so much more. And so, what does that drive me to do? That drives me to make effective change, invest more, save more, make more earning power, more than the average human being, more than 2 human beings, more than 3 human beings, more than 4 human beings combined on average. Make more than that so that I can then propel myself and not remain stagnant. I lived 22 years of my life in New York City where everyone that I was ever around was stagnant. They did not leave the hood. They did not leave the trenches. I grew up in Linden Plaza, and guess what? Everybody that I would ever know is still there, right? Everybody that I would ever know is still there. Right across from Spring Creek, right across from Pink Houses, all of that is still there. I still know my people in Crown Heights. I still know my people by Canarsie. All of still there. Listen, I don't want to remain stagnant. 22 years, there has to be a lot more growth. 22 years, there has to be a lot more change. 22 years, there has to be elevation within my life, because what I want to provide, what I want to show people, what I want to have them exist within is far greater than what they've ever been accustomed to. What I want to show is completely different. And so the fraud, waste, and abuse scam um, could propel you to new heights. Can you imagine the Leering Center had $9 million, $9 million in a five-year span? That's life-changing money. Most people only make $3 million in their entire life. Imagine getting 3 times that, 3 times that in 5 years, right? And so, these people, they won't even do hard time. At most, 5 years. Would you take 5 years in jail for a $9 million payout? If the answer is yes, then of course, why wouldn't you again do what they've done? Um, you see, a lot of people have been stating as well, like the crime doesn't fit the jail sentence these days. If you were to rob someone at gunpoint, you'll do 10 to 15 to 20 years in prison, whether you shoot them or not. But if you defraud taxpayers of millions of dollars, you'll do 5 years. If it's a first offense, you'll get out in 5 years. With good behavior, you'll do 85% of that time. And so, people, I say all this to say, like, there are people who are going to abuse the system. There's a lot of fraud that I honestly don't believe is going to be taken care of in a 3-year period of time. And then there's a lot of people who don't want it to be eradicated. Imagine when they took away food stamps for just a short period of time. And I don't say that as tongue in cheek. I understand that there are people struggling who do have children and they need to be able to support them and feed them. But people were saying, hey, I'm just going to rob, I'm going to steal all the food. And that just raises costs for everybody else, right? And so when we talk about our society as a whole, we live in a country where, this is supposed to be the land of the free, the greatest of the greatest people providing and contributing to the economy. And that's really where my issue lies, is how do you contribute to society? Do you just take from society and hope that everyone else is going to pity you? Or do you actually provide actual value to society? Like, do you actually provide value to others? You understand? Like, the same people that you're ready to talk ish about is the same ones providing for you to live the lifestyle that you live. And so I say all that to say, like, let's do better as a whole, right? We're not going to be able to change the world. It's not going to change all scams in the next 3 years. But you can take the initiative and the decision to say, you know what, I'm going to pay my fair share of taxes, not a penny more, and then also elevate myself in my life to where I don't have to rely on cheap tricks and cheap tactics in order to get ahead, and not do a day in prison because we don't operate with that mindset. This mentality of the world owes you something, and then this mindset of everyone should pity me because I exist. Like, no, let's get out of that and focus on what we can control, because when you focus on you and how you're going to elevate in your life, the world opens up. So if you like this video, make sure you leave a like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. You know I post on YouTube, Rumble, and Spotify for podcasters, and I can't wait to see you on the next one. Peace.